Welcome to another video and the last in this particular part, which is modeling real life objects. All right, I think that's what it's titled. Yeah, modeling real life objects. All right, so we've modeled some things like cups, we modeled buckets, we modeled many other things. All right, so you could actually go ahead to model anything that you think you can. You could make your attempt. You have any model that's challenging, you could reach out in the comment section, and you might receive an advice to direct you as to how you might model what you want to model. All right, so but in this video we're going to conclude with modeling real life objects, and from the next video we'll begin architectural modeling. All right, so but what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the gates. All right, so we're going to work on the gates. So we don't have a gate in this place, so we are going to give that model a compound that will work with when we want to render it. All right, so they use the default Lumion template, because just from looking at the model alone, from looking at the rendering alone of this work, I could tell that it was rendered with Lumion. Yeah, and it was so yeah, that's the Afro House plans. Yes, Afro House plans 13 plan. Okay, this is one of the plans. There have a lot of plans there. So what I actually did was I just downloaded the plan just so I could use it for the purpose of this training, because it was free. Yeah, you can see free house plan PFP. All right. So how I'm in no wise claiming ownership over this render. This particular one is not mine, and also the plan is not mine. All right. So but the idea is to show you what is obtainable. All right. So we're going to work on the landscape of this more. All right, we're going to do some more work on this when we start working on it. So but let's leave that till then. All right, so let's get down to the, don't forget this is a course. So the course, so I won't be, you might see me mention things about the course while we are going on with modeling some specific object. So please bear with me and let's stay tuned. All right, so we have like 2 Windows samples here. I wish I could just have a live session where I ask you which one would you want us to model, but I have a feeling this would be your option and not this. And the reason I have a feeling that would be option and not this is because this looks so freaking simple and that doesn't. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just model one gate. I'm not going to model two. I'm just going to model one. For the sake of time, the course is getting lengthy. All right. I'm just going to model one. All right. So when we look at this gate, we can tell that this is probably like a down installment and stuff like that. But at least from this gate, we can tell the total dimensions of everything. All right. So we can see that oh my God. Whoa. It seems that this model had its dimensions where I got it from, and I didn't get the dimension of the total length. But nevertheless, it's not a challenge. We'll figure that out. So let's just drag this in as usual. I'll just get that in here. Okay, it seems, oh, that's not the normal kind of picture. So let me see if I could make it a normal kind. Microsoft Paint works like magic. Save as PNG. Yeah, it's a web something picture. So if I do save as, I save it as a PNG or a JPEG image, I should be able to now then import it to import it. All right, so let me save this here. And all right, now yes, been saved as a PNG. I can import that. All right, so Now I have imported that. I'll just go ahead and, all right, I'll just go ahead and bring that up. All right, so given that this is a gate and it's symmetric, obviously model one part and component the other part so that it just flips. All right, so one of the ways to get the dimensions of something that is in a picture like this is, since we don't know the length from of A, because it seems that in the place where I downloaded this from, they had put the length in the website, right? So this is not my property as well. I just got this from Google search. So I'm just using it for the modeling purposes. All right. So yeah, now what I was looking at now is how to get the dimensions of A. All right, so if we get A, we divide it by 2, that's the length of one leaf of the gate. So how do we actually look at that? Now we know that this is the thickness of this part is 150. So if that is 150, what it means is that from this point to this point is 150. And we can see generally we're having like 130 already. So what I would do is I'll measure this out from here. I'll measure this out from here to that point, the start point, and then I'll measure out 150, right? And then I would scale this. I'll scale this till this fits in, right? So that fits in. So let me move this and this till it fits in like so. All right, so that means this is almost it. All right, so you can see just a tad little bit different. That's like 5. All right, so what that means now is I could go ahead and measure this to this point. I can tell that's 1,250. 1,250. All right, so 1250. All right, so that means I have gotten the very middle, or 1,000. All right, so that's 1,250. I'm just going to use that for the total length of this. Then the height thereof, well, the height could differ. So I'm just going to push this backwards. I'm just going to push this backwards by like 3 meters so I can have my space here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have this to be 150 mm. So that's going to be a rectangular bar, sorry, square. So that's going to be 150 by 150. All right. So 150 by 150, and it's flat and has some bolts on it. All right. So, but it's its height now. All right, so its height, I could measure it since I've scaled this drawing. I've scaled the drawing, so I could just measure it and give it a round figure, right? So if I measure from that point down to the bottom, that's 1,250, right? So I could just do like 1,300, right? So this is not like so high. Okay, so this is 1,300. All right, I'll do that. Then I'll just go ahead and group this. I'll make this a group. Then I'll also go ahead and bring out, uh, bring this out. Okay. Let me do extra 50. All right. So, all right. So I'll pull this up by, okay. Let me undo that. Then I'll pull this up by, say, 25. All right. So make this a group. 25 seems to be much. All right, so I just push it down by 15. All right, so I could tell that there are screws at the 4 corners of these. All right, so if I just group that and I make a rectangle like so, I make a rectangle like so. Then I just take this to this point, this to this point. Then I could have a polygon with 6 sides that looks like a boat. Right, so I just do that 15 and I just push that out like so. Maybe push it out by 25. Quite big though, but nah, 25 is too much. I'll push it down by 15. Push it down by 15 and push it up by 5. Then I scale this in, scale it in by 0.7. All right, so I make this a component. I call it gate foot bolt. All right, so I'm just gonna move that whole thing like so, and then I move another like so. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this center part and leave the rect. I leave that rect so that it makes it easy for me to move it around. All right, then I have this, 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 I have this. I make this a component. I call this post, gate post, gate post. All right. So. You see how simple these things become when you already know what you're doing. All right. So if you wanted, you could just optional post, or you could make this extra long by pulling it inward or making it higher, whatever you want to do. All right. So it's left for you. So you could decide to do it that way or whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an extra touch to it by drawing a wall. I'm just gonna give the wall like 3 meters length, and I'm gonna push it out by 50. All right. Let me make it a bit more like 50 or 60. All right. So like, I'll just call this make group. I'll call this wall. All right. So that's the gate post. Now for this whole thing now, all right, so I could tell that this and this, they're the same height ish. All right, so not exactly the same height, but it's lifted up by okay, this is looking tricky. That's that 35 millimeters. That's supposed to be height. But all right, so let's see. So this is 150 by 50. So that means that if I measure this inward and I just go ahead and let me give an offset by, let's say, like 50. I'll give a 50 offset like so, and I'll take that up like that, like this. All right, so it's 50 ticks, so that will be 25 that way and 25 this way. So I just draw a rectangle from that point to this point, and then I push that by 150. Right, so that's the first panel. All right, so it has this whole cup stuff going on there. I'm just going to use my arc tool and then just push it like, take it down by 50, and then I just arc it all the way, and then I just chunk that out. Pretty straightforward and simple, yeah. Or I think the arc was looking for I was looking for extra height. Let me give it some extra height. This is 50, so I just move that down by like 20. All right, yeah, almost there. So I will just do this. Oh, all right. So I don't want that to happen there to happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. All right, I'm going to delete that. Mm, all right, so push this out. All right, and all right, so all right, so from the top part, I could just push this to the aligns with the tip of this top, right? Because it's like touching that top at that point. All right. So. All right. So we're still going to the gate. We're still going to the gate. All right. Now we have this other part, and we see it's this part is a 50 by 40, 150 by 40. So it's kind of like this 150, then thickness is 40 right there. All right. So same thing with the bottom part, and this bottom part seems to be maybe, we just assume that when we get there. So for this part, we could tell that this is some height from here. So let's see, from here to here is like 20, so 26. So we use about 30. So we'll do 30, and then we'll now do this to this point, which is like 460. All right, so let's do that. So I'll group this and I'll group that. Then I'll just measure out from here like 30, and then I will just do thickness like so, and I'll do that by 150 somewhere. All right, so this is supposed to be 40. So by the time I pull this out, I pull this out to be so, and technically this should, from here, if I move this, I'll just duplicate this to the other side. I'll duplicate it to the other side because this is supposed to terminate here. So I didn't make that a component yet because I don't think I need that to be a component. So at this point, I know this has an extra height of 300 up. All right, so I'm just going to move this up. I'll select this group, come inside, select that part, and then I'm just going to move it up by like so 300. All right, so we have that going on there. All right, so next thing to do is I group this guy, make a group, then I measure, like so. I having scaled this image, I can just easily measure and take an average. All right, so that's all right, so before I do that, this is not just supposed to be 50, it's supposed to be like 40 in thickness. So that means it's going to be less thicker than the other one. So I'll just make this 5 from this side and 5 from the other side because this is 50. So if I remove 5, that's going to be 10 out, and that's going to be 40. All right, so if I now take this from this point and move it up by 460, I'll move it up by 460, like so. I'll duplicate it by 460 high, and I have that right there. All right, so I think that 460 is not high enough. Let me move it by extra 150 because I think I just moved it 150. All right, that's high enough because I moved it from this bottom, so I didn't travel out of this 150, so I just moved it from here all the way 460, so extra 150 to move away from this. So yeah, that being said, I think we're already getting the general shape for this. There's something I'll still explain soon enough, but let's keep going. All right, so we're beginning to get the complicated part where we talk about the curves going on there. All right, let's talk about the curves going on there. All right, So first of all, I'll just group this, group this, group this, group this. Now push it out by, so this is like 20. So I'll just do that to be like 30. All right. So I'll just bring it out by 30, right? From the wall or from the post. All right. So from this point, we want to get this arc. So this arc will seem to start from the same point here and then the same point here. And it's going to be like 150 offset. So I'm just going to measure the point where it should start. And let me first of all clear my guides, delete guides. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to measure an extra like 25 from this point. Then I do that same thing from here, 25. So I'm just going to draw an arc that goes from this point, right? I'm going to draw an arc that goes from this point to this point, going that way. See that? So I'm just adjusting, adjusting it till it's leveled with that line, and voila. So you see, I have it leveled with this line because it's leveled kind of like this on the parallel level. So it goes like that. So, all right. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this, duplicate it and bring it down by 150 because that's the thickness. Bring it down by 150. All right. Or I could still just measure 150 like so, and do the same 150 here like so, and draw the arc completely all through. All right, I'm just going to group this line. All right, I'm just going to, okay, let me draw a line that comes out from that, extends from there. So I could group that. All right, then I'm just going to draw an arc from this point to this point, and I'm just going to use this as a reference, and then I'll go ahead and delete that. All right, so I've gotten that. Then I could just line up a line up here, and voila. Right, so I'll just go ahead and make it 50 thick first, then I'll take out 5 here, then I'll take out 5 here, then I'll make that a group. So we're done with that part, and the next thing that follows is this. Now for this part, we can decide to model it in place, or you could just use a texture for that. Yeah, a texture for that. So the next thing I want to do is this rod stuff. It doesn't seem to be round. It's like a rectangle that was chamfered inward. So I'm just going to go ahead and do something like that. So for this part, I think if I wanted to look more real, I could go ahead to use the dimension they have, which is 100 by 16. So each plank is 100 by 16. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I just model that 100 by 16, 100 by 16, and that'll be towards the middle. All right. So 100, that'll come out by 100 and 16. So that'll be like 16 divided by 2. Let me do that outward, and then 16. That way I can get the whole plank dimension. So I could just pull this up all the way to that point. Then I make this a component, and I'll call it gate plank. All right, because I'm going to duplicate them, so I don't want a situation whereby I just make it a normal object and then I need to edit all of them at once. And so I'm going to give it like 2 meters offset, like so. So like that. Then let me see. So from this point and then 2 meters. All right, so I'm just going to move from that point, then I come to this point, and I'm going to times that by 5. Times it by 5. Let me see. Okay, times 6. All right, perfecto. Just right. Get blanks. Get blanks. I'll just select that and group that, and I'll call that lower gate part. All right, you just have to name them. All right, so that uh, you have some good nomenclature going on there. All right, so there are just some things left on the gate, like the bars. All right, so these bars, I'm going to model the longest one, and I can see they're telling me that this is 19 by 19. So it's either it is rectangular or it's circular, but this tells me that it is actually rectangular. It looks like a polygonal shape. I can't even tell, like, really. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make it whatever I want, and let's see. So we have about we have like, okay, so the spacing for each is 98 millimeters, and the thickness of one is 19. So 98 mm, and the thickness is 19. All right, so that's in the middle right there. So 19. So I'll do 19 divided by 2, and then I'll bring that up by 19. All right. So if I do this as a rectangle, first of all, so I could decide to leave this as a rectangle, or I could decide to do it as a polygon. Yeah. So let me just do it as a polygon. All right. Let's see if I do it that way, it won't give me what I want. Okay, that could be good and it could be bad. Hmm. Let me see. I could decide. What do I do now? Okay, I'll just go with this. All right, so I would, let me group this, make this a group, and I'll just go ahead and do this. All right, so I'll do this. Then now this goes all the way through, right? But along the line is somewhere here. So these all are going to be made. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm just going to and paste in place. Then I'll push that to this point. So I'll do one. Wait, let me see that. Let me see. Okay, and do 200. All right, so I will just allow this. Now, for this, I'm just going to model a cutout sample. I'll group that first of all, and then I'll just go inside that, copy that, and then I'll paste it outwards. Then what I'll do now is I'm going to scale it out, right? I'm going to scale it out by 1.3. I'm going to scale it by 1.3. All right. Well, before I do that, let me move it up. Let me pull it up by 10. Then at the bottom. Okay, I push it up by 10, and then I'll put it up again by 10. Now push it up again by 10. All right. So I'll scale the top and the bottom. I'll scale the top and the bottom to have. All right. So I just want to scale the top and the bottom. All right. All right. It looks something like that. So let me just scale this part separate. I'll scale that part separate to like 0.8, right? Now scale this part 0.8, 0.8, right? And now we just, give it a general scaling, like 0.25. And bring it down again by 0.8. All right, so it's generally looking something like that. So that's similar enough, I guess. So. Mm, mhm. All right, make component git bar. I'll just call it a knob. Not like it's a knob, but it looks like one. All right. So this is a gate bar, and then I'm just going to head and finish up this bar, push that all the way into this. All right. Push this all the way into this. All right. So that being done, I could just go ahead and looking at that, I could make this make this a group, right? Just make that a group. Then unfortunately there are almost no similarities with this. So what I would do is move this by the distance, which is 98. Then I'll just move it from here to this point, because that's 98. And I just press times, maybe like 15. I'll do that like 15 times so that I could just delete the excess. Maybe like 5. Okay, no. 15, no, do times 12. Okay, let's see, times 9. Okay, times 10. Just adequate. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pick these guys up. All right. So I'll pick these guys up and scale it till it touches the inside. All right. And I'm just gonna move this up till it comes to this curve. I just put that curve there so I can use it as a guide for the whole stuff. So I'm doing this manually, right? So not all models will afford you that symmetric thing you want to get done. So I'll scale this guy. I could see do push pull, but I just want to use scale way faster. Way faster. All right. can immediately see how you could come up with models. All right. So this guy, I could just scale him. I could push pull him. All right. I'm just showing you that there is no restriction to how you want to do it. Right. You are the restriction. You are the restriction. So scale. I do scale from the very middle point. I don't want to have to scale weirdly. Scale the middle point till it gets inside there. And I move this from somewhere around here on the blue axis till it touches this line. And I just look at it to make sure it's still curving along with the line. All right, so I just do that again. All right, so there are models that will cause you to behave like this. You might just need to do some things manually. All right, so but nevertheless, it's still fine. Fine. The main thing is to achieve ultimately what you set out to model, right? So let's just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right. Mhm. All right. So now beginning to get tricky. That curve will no longer suffice. Oh, finally. Let's go, let's go. We're almost done. All right. Move it up from the middle. Ensure you scale it well. And if you notice your scaling is not moving well, you might want to ensure that you are not having serious issue. All right. And the last one, let's move that up. So you can decide to just move this guy a little bit more down. And then this one, I could just adjust him a little bit more to match the flow. All right. So it's not like perfect curved, but you could just take your time and make that curve perfect. All right. So we've gotten the generic shape of the gate. We're not done. We're not done. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tidy up all this. I'll tidy all this up, and I'll just pick this up like so, and I'll just group that. Just group all that bars. All right. So I'll call this side left, uh, side top. Call this side right. Call this side bottom. Now call this side middle. All right. So we have everything we modeling. All right. So that original shape is there. Just delete that. All right. So I'll just go ahead and clear my guide, get rid of the guides, and we can see the model. It's looking already like what we have here. So there's just one more thing before we mirror to the other side. Now, if you clearly look here, you see that there is like a hinge here, right? So this is the hinge point. That's the hinge point for the gate. The gate rotates around that. What this means there is that we have a hinge going on from this point to the middle. So something like this. So if I were to push this all the way to this surface, all right, and I bring this to this point along that surface, I just come down like maybe 15. Okay, so just do something like this and something like this along that and shows on that face. Then I'll do this and I'll push it all the way out. Then I'll bring it down a little bit just so there's space in between both of them. And let me see, I'll take this in by, let me just leave it like so. So this right here is supposed to serve as the hinge, and the stores, it's supposed to sit somewhere in the middle. All right. So all these details, you might not put this in an actual model for you use for rendering, but I do this because I want you to understand visualization to the fullest, right? So when you do stuff like this, you know how a hinge should work. So I say I have like 20 millimeters, right? So okay, I make this a group, then I come into the group and I just push this all the way up till it touches this bottom. All right. So the idea is that's like the bending mechanism. All right. So if the gate is to rotate, it's going to rotate around that point, that point. So that for the one below, that for the one below, make group, and then there is another one by this side. There's another one by this side, just in this middle area right here. So what that means is at this point, I'm just going to draw from that point to this middle point right here. All right. So I would, when I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and select all this. I'm just going to go ahead and select all this. Right. Okay, that was not planned. All right. So make that a group, right? Okay, and I select all that. Then I make this a group. Gate leaf. All right, so that's like one leaf of the gate. So I make that a group. Actually, it's supposed to be a component, right? So I'll make that a component. All right, so now for this other side, what I want to do now is I want to draw a line straight down to that point, and then from this side, all right, so that's it right there. Then I'm just gonna measure out some thickness here. All right, measure out some thickness, and I will just use a definite thickness. Let me make it 10, and then take it down by 40. Right. So I'll clean that, then I'll push that out all the way. Wait, hold on. Let me look at that first. All right, so if I have this, I want to move that along. All right, let me see this. Yeah, you're familiar with me. I like making shapes like this. I'll call this rotate point. Right, like I did mention, things like this don't show up in rendering. So if I have that there and I use this to put this right there and I put this there and I make this rotate like so, you see similar things that hinge right there. So what I really want to do now is I was trying to understand how I would work on this part. Right. All right. So I had paused to try to understand the mechanism that's going on here because uh, oh, right. When you look at this model, you quickly notice that there is a hinge here as well. So I was trying to understand the physics behind that, and I don't think I need to. It's just a model, right? So it's not like I'm gonna animate it in this video. So I'm just gonna leave that as so. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and group this now. So make this one group, hinge, lower hinge, and I'll call this upper hinge. All right. So that being said, I will just link the lower hinge and the upper hinge with the gate post and just take that into the gate post. All right. So with that being said, that being done, I could just go ahead and that's my gate and its post, and then the rotate point. Now make this okay. I won't make that a component yet. I don't need to make that a component. So I'll just go ahead and take these two things and flip them alongside my plane plus, and voila, have them made across. All right, so I could also flip this guy as well. So I have him there as well. All right, so what I could just go ahead to do now is to decide what these would be. Well, generally speaking, this should be metal, right? So I could just go ahead and start with my metal section. We just put metal here, metal, this guy, and this guy as well, metal. All right, since the component, it will reflect anywhere once I change one of the components. All right, so if I pick these guys up, pick those guys up, okay. So I pick these guys up and I just want to make him a slightly different metal. All right, so it stand out. All right, same thing with this guy. Not like we see in him, but just for the extra touch. And then this could be, these are all going to be one color, so I could just group them. Just make them group, call them support. All right, then I just go ahead and put I'm just gonna make it wood. All right, make it wood color. Then I'll take this and pour that right there. And I would make this a more, different kind of wood, right? So, and thus I am done modeling the gate. So with this, I could just go ahead to, give it a brick wall so that it looks like so. All right. So with that, we are done modeling the gate. We're done going through modeling everything that we need to model. The only thing now is how we're going to begin to render these things to make them. Sorry, yeah. The only thing left for these guys is how to render them or to use them in our visualization plan for the house in question. All right. So we're done with this. I'm just going to go ahead and make it a component. All right. I'll go ahead and make it a component, but before I do that, all right, I do remember I did not duplicate, flip this guy as well. So I need to flip him, duplicate flip, and I need to flip that in case I need to make an open version of these gates. I want to open like one of it, right? Like so, right? So I'll delete that, and that being said, I'm done with that. Also, I'll just pick these up and make them a component. All right. So two leaf gates, voila, and I'm done. So I get rid of that and I have my model and it's ready. I'm just gonna go ahead and save. So I'll call that a gate. All right. So that brings us to the end of this particular video. All right. So if you were able to learn something, you gain some knowledge, you're beginning to understand the dynamics of modeling, especially modeling things details. All right. So if you gain some knowledge in that regard, you could go ahead and hit the like button. All right. So one extra touch I would like to do here is I like to take this, right? Take this and move it up. All right. So it's too close. Like move it up by like 10. All right. So that is now better. That is better. That is a whole lot better. So that being said, that brings us to the end of this video. Now, if you did gain value and you enjoyed the course of the training, you were able to learn much about modeling and all that, please do hit the like button and drop a comment if you have questions. Share it to your friends if you know anyone that want to learn 3D visualization. You could copy them the link to the what they call a playlist, and then from there they could start from scratch and begin to walk up to the point we are currently. And yeah. All right, so in the next video we'll begin to look into trying to understand a building plan. We're going to try to understand a building plan because I would love for us to finish the modeling training in SketchUp before we go to the next phase. So we're going to begin to look into the modeling building plan, try to understand the components of a building plan, right? So when we're done understanding it to a good extent, then we will begin modeling. All right, so I'm just going to take like a short video, like 5 minutes, to explain a building plan, the components of a building plan, before I begin the next video modeling the building. And then I'm going to explain to you how I go about to model buildings. I'm going to explain the how I stratify my models, and we're going to make proper use of groups and use of groups and tags and scenes. We're going to use all those in the final part of our video. All right, that's going to be towards the rendering part. So I'm just going to group everything, but when we get to the rendering part, we're going to use the scenes, the tags, and all those other things for the various capacities they can be used, because I want you to use SketchUp like a professional, not like someone who's just trying to figure out what he's trying to do. All right, so that being said, catch you in the next video and see ya.